You know, I already own a Nintendo Switch, but man, I gotta say that new Monster Hunter Nintendo Switch is really tempting to buy. Also, side note, is anyone here pumped for all the crazy Nintendo Switch games that will come in the next 2 years? We have Breath of the Wild 2, Metroid Prime 4, Bayonneta 3, No More Heroes 3, Pokemon Snap, and more Nintendo Switch games. And that's not even including other games I haven't mentioned or games that we don't even know about. Things are gonna get crazy, guys. Hey guys, it's Rob here, and welcome back to the Robo-chan Show, where we cover the latest gaming news, leaks, and rumors from Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo in 2020 and beyond. If you want to be kept up on the latest gaming news, make sure you click that red subscribe button below this video and that notification bell so you know when I upload. And if you're interested, I have a Patreon, which link to that will be in the pinned comment along with my Twitter account. In this video, we're going to talk about some new Amazon listings for Nintendo Switch games and other Nintendo-related placings that have leaked out from the Amazon French website. Some interesting words about Nintendo Directs and the fate of seeing huge Nintendo Switch games like Breath of the Wild 2 and Metroid Prime 4 by a Nintendo leaker, and also a little detective work on my part. It's time to get the good old detective hat out again. Also, real quick guys, I'm going to start doing a comment of the day section where I talk about your comments or questions at the end of the video, so make sure you leave your thoughts in the comment section below or any questions you have for me, and I'll try to pick a couple out and talk about them at the end of the video. So Nintendo has been on a roll lately in a lot of different ways. Not only have they sprung a ton of new Nintendo Switch game reveals on us like the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild prequel Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, but they also gave us the Pokemon Snap trailer, the announcement of the Pokemon 25th anniversary, and a lot of other cool Nintendo related things. I think personally my favorite thing that was shown was the Pokemon 25th anniversary celebration video where we got to see classic Pokemon games and they were kind of celebrating looking back at all the different Pokemon games. It brought back a ton of memories and good old nostalgia about the old days of Pokemon. And of course some of the more recent games too. I mean, not to mention all the crazy Nintendo Switch rumors that are going around, like the Nintendo Switch Pro rumors about the 4K Nintendo Switch and all the craziness surrounding that, and not to mention the Pokemon Gen 4 remakes for Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. It's getting really crazy out there guys, and this latest finding is, well, the latest finding. So listings on Amazon and other websites isn't really new. A lot of times there will be listings on websites and later that month or the month after that we'll get the announcement for that game. Usually in what used to be a full Nintendo Direct, but now it's probably going to be a Twitter announcement. And it seems that we have some new listings on the French Amazon website, so let's take a look at them. Now these listings were found by the Twitter account Nintendo Alerts, and this is what their tweet says. Amazon lists several Nintendo Switch games without knowing what it is. It may be SEO or links that were not used in 2020, to be continued. And yeah, you could say that this is just an old link, but it just so happens that a Nintendo leaker who we've covered here in the past called New Marco Maro had some interesting things to say that makes me think that these listings might be for a Nintendo Direct partner showcase, along with other findings that I have found over the week. So this is what New Marco Maro says. English dub for the new Fire Emblem Echoes is nearly done. On the other hand, the Japanese one is having more issues due to the situation there with COVID. I don't expect delays anyways, so the reveal should be around February through March for a May through June to release. Now the reason why I read this is because I want you guys to keep in mind that COVID is still here and it's still affecting workers overseas and of course in the US. So a delay for some things happening or just strange moves by Nintendo that otherwise wouldn't happen are still possible. Well, let's continue. Partner showcases will be back very soon, leaving Nintendo stuff for Twitter reveals, similar to last year. Zelda's voice cast also is recording new stuff. If it is for Breath of the Wild or Age of Calamity DLC, it's still unclear. So according to New Marco Maro, Zelda's voice actor is recording new dialogue right now. There are two scenarios that I could see happening right now. It's either for Breath of the Wild 2, which if it is, that means the cutscenes for Breath of the Wild 2 are far enough to allow voice acting. Which, if that's the case, then a new trailer for Breath of the Wild 2 is not far behind. I mean that, or they're getting it ready for the next reveal. But on the other hand, it could be for Age of Calamity, which as far as my knowledge goes, they don't have any plans to expand further on the Breath of the Wild prequel. I don't think DLC has been announced. As to which is more likely, I think Breath of the Wild 2's voice acting is the likely scenario. If DLC was being planned for Age of Calamity, Nintendo probably would have announced it already at the reveal of Age of Calamity. Like they have done with so many of their games, not just their first party IPs. Usually within that first or second trailer we do get some detail on DLC, even if said DLC is not far into development. Look no further to how they reveal some Super Smash Bros. Characters and content. I mean heck, if I recall they did that with Breath of the Wild 1 too. Now there is one more tweet here and this is what it says. Camelot's Mario Sport game is settled for release in early summer, like Mario Tennis Aces. Famicom Tente Club, at least the first one, likely to come to Europe at some point in 2021. Now if this game does come out in summer, which let me remind you starts in just 4 months, we would most likely see it in either a Twitter announcement or the odd curveball of a Nintendo Direct Mini. Though considering it's not really being made by Nintendo themselves, it could also be a partner direct. Now Nintendo did say that they won't be doing any Nintendo Direct partner showcases in 2020, but not 2021. So partner showcases are still a possibility, especially with this new rumor or leak or whatever you want to call it by new Marco Maro. Now that's not the only finding I want to bring up. Recently 2 games that are coming out in March have appeared, one leaked, the other announced. The first one is Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborhoodville, which is on the listing from Gamefly, a website where you can rent games. And the second Nintendo Switch game is Kingdoms of Almar, which was tweeted out that it will be coming out in March for the Nintendo Switch. 2 third-party games. I think a trailer for Kingdoms of Almar on the Nintendo Switch is already out, I believe. And I also want you guys not to forget that another big Nintendo Switch game, Bravely Default 2, is coming to the Nintendo Switch in February also. Another partner game with Nintendo. And you guys know that I love my RPGs, I always say this in all my videos, so I can't wait for that game. So why is this significant? The Zelda voice acting, the talks of partner showcases, and the March release of 2 games plus the Amazon listings, and of course let's not forget Bravely Default 2. Well, it could mean that Nintendo is rearing up for a Nintendo Direct partner showcase. Now personally I thought it would happen in January, but I guess I was completely wrong. Now keep in mind that the Pokemon Company is also rumored to do something in February, so keep that in mind, but Bravely Default does come out next month and I'm sure Nintendo would want to promote such a huge game, especially considering how well the first game did and how big of a brand it is now. So that kind of just gives another reason to showcase non-first party games or bigger Nintendo Switch games. And not only that, but I'm just remembering this as I'm recording, but didn't the Bayonneta developers come out and say that they have something to show for the Bayonneta 3 and they hope that they can show it in 2021? I'm gonna look it up right now, but I could have sworn there was something about that in another game that they were developing. And it seems I was right. Platinum Games teasing 2021 announcement on official site, possibly Bayonneta 3. So yeah, Platinum Games is teasing announcements as well. But I bet you're wondering, what about the big reveals though? The Breath of the Wilds and of course the Metroid Prime 4s of Nintendo games. Well, you know, I always thought that they would reveal those in January in a full Nintendo Direct, and Nintendo Directs would come back, the full Nintendo Directs, not partner showcases. But recently there has been some talk in the Nintendo community about Nintendo Directs not happening anymore, at least the full ones. And not to mention, new Marco Maro says that Twitter announcements will still be a thing just like last year, which that's considered a rumor, but it still adds to the whole conversation about there being no full Nintendo Directs. Now I don't think there won't be any huge Nintendo Directs that focus solely on single games though. I mean, recently we have had a Monster Hunter Direct, so there's still gonna be those. Most likely we will see a digital event, and those huge games like Breath of the Wild, Metroid Prime 4, and so on will be shown during E3 time. We know that Nintendo likes to do their own thing other than going to the actual E3 floor, so that's most likely what will happen. We also have to consider that COVID will probably still be a problem in many places, so that comes into play also. I honestly think that the best time to show these huge Nintendo Switch games would be during E3. But not only will I hope the bug will be less of a problem for Nintendo, hopefully, fingers crossed, but it's also around E3 time and eyes are on companies more than usual, so it's best to show your big games then. And moving on to the next part of the video, the very first comment of the day, or technically comments because there are 3. If you want me to answer some of your comments, make sure you leave them down in the comment section below about the topic of this video, or of course any questions you have for me. Good All One Bay says that Nintendo should release 3 separate Zelda games on their own: Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, and Wind Waker, each about €30. So me personally, I'd like to see this happen for the Legend of Zelda 35th anniversary, but also have an option to buy all 3 in one pack. I do hope for the re-release of these games, it would be a more substantial upgrade than the anniversary games for Super Mario. Cinchman1 says this: the next Mario Kart will be Double Dash 2, trust me. So a Double Dash 2 would definitely be the way to go in my opinion if they wanted to stir up the usual Mario Kart formula. After Mario Kart Double Dash on the GameCube, I thought they would always go back to that formula eventually, even if it's just for Mario Kart 9. And I'm all open for it. I'd also like them to throw in some Diddy Kong racing elements in there, like maybe an open world. And last up, a name that I won't even try to pronounce because I can't pronounce it, he says this: it's coming to the Switch after all, a year later. Now this is in reference to Kingdoms of Almar coming to the Nintendo Switch, and yeah, it is kind of weird that they didn't at least announce the port alongside the PC, PS4 plus the Xbox version, and kinda makes me wonder if this is a rushed port or not. I guess we'll have to wait till March to find that answer out. And that's all for today, guys. Make sure you leave those comments for the next one, and if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to RoboRob Gaming for more gaming news, leaks, and rumors. Thanks for watching, guys, and remember, stay safe, stay charged, and have a good one.